Audio.
This podcast is called Obsessed. Joseph Scrimshaw and his guest get some secrets off their chest. You should listen. It's the best.
Hello and welcome to Obsessed with Joseph Scrimshaw on Feral Audio. I am your host. My name is still Joseph Scrimshaw. This week's episode features a wonderful comedy human. He's a writer for At Midnight and one of the hosts of the podcast Jessie Go, Jordan Morris. In just a few moments, Jordan will share his love of the punk band NoFX. But first, here's what I'm obsessing about this week. The thing I am obsessing about is this very podcast. I am thrilled to announce some changes for Obsessed. Starting with this episode, barring terrible catastrophe, we'll be putting the podcast out weekly. And I say we because my friend Sarah Meyer is now helping me produce the podcast, which is awesome. But wait, there's more awesome. Sarah's also creating a new segment for the podcast. She's venturing out to the Venice boardwalk to interview people, just random humans, about each episode's topic. So halfway through the show, you'll hear random human beings on the street's opinion about NoFX. Do they have an opinion? Have they heard of the band? Are they weird? You'll find out. And all of this is made possible by your kind support on Patreon. Starting this month, February 2016, or 2016, as most people say, my Patreon is all about supporting Obsessed Podcast. Each month, I'm also going to record a special bonus episode that will only be available to patrons. The bonus episodes will be little discussions with fan-favorite guests about stuff that I am currently obsessed with. Our first patron-only bonus episode will feature a discussion with our pal Josh Kagan about spoilers. Spoiler. I'm very annoyed with spoilers right now. So, if you like the podcast and want to get the bonus episodes, check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Joseph Scrimshaw. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. I recently asked fans to send me a question about one of their obsessions. And Sarah Boyle says, I'm obsessed with wasteland narratives. What position do you think you would hold in a Mad Max Fallout-style post-apocalyptic wasteland? Well, I am really, really happy with this question. Thank you, Sarah, because this is something that I have given a lot of thought to before you even asked. I want to say that I could still be a comedian because the optimistic part of me wants to believe that humans will always need to laugh. They'll still need to question society via satire. Then I picture myself trying to do stand-up for like a Morton Joe, and then in my mind it just smash cuts to me being murdered, eaten alive, and my bones used to prop up old IKEA bookshelves. So I think the wisest position for me to hold in a post-apocalyptic wasteland is to become a professional hider, to just become better than anyone has ever been at not leaving the house. I will forage for nuts and old Hostess fruit pies like a large human squirrel. And I know it wouldn't be a good life, but it sounds really, really fun as I'm hearing myself say it, which leads me to think that actually the best thing that I have to offer in a post-apocalyptic wasteland is just a little bit of optimism. Maybe in this post-apocalyptic wasteland, I could be the town optimist. I could be like, the radioactive mutants from beyond the wall only murdered half the population a day. And hey, is this glass of water half brown or half clear? It makes you think. It really makes you think. The final thing I would do in a post-apocalyptic wasteland is plug some shows, whether I had any or not, because it's just a part of who I am, damn it. So here in the pre-apocalyptic wasteland of 2016, I do have some shows coming up. If you're heading to the big Doctor Who convention in LA called Gallifrey 1, you will find me there. On Friday night, I'll be doing a Doctor Who-themed stand-up show in a bunch of panels throughout the weekend. Then coming up in March, I'll be performing at Wizard World in Las Vegas. And on March 16th, I'll be doing a set on The Meltdown with Jonah and Kamel. You can find out about all my shows at josephscrimshaw.com/live-shows. But now, with no further ado, sit back, relax, and go nuts with punk rock energy as you enjoy Jordan Morris's obsession with NoFX. Hello and welcome to Obsessed with me, Joseph Scrimshaw. I'm sitting in my home with an awesome person, Jordan Morris.
Hi, Joseph.
Thank you for doing this.
I'm glad to be in your lovely home.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, is my home actually lovely, or are you just saying that to be nice?
Yeah, well, here, let me, I haven't been in it long, but I'll give you an honest assessment,
Thank
because I
you.
am a
Thank
no
you.
bullshit kind of guy.
Yes, you are.
I like your furniture. I think it's a kind of a charming collection of, and I'm not saying this in a bad way,
Yeah.
but it looks like a charming collection of thrift store finds. Am I wrong about that?
That is exactly true. These are all things that have been in plays
Really?
that I did in Minneapolis.
Okay.
That I discovered while I was sitting in them during shows. Like, that chair's pretty comfy.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I could steal away in the night with that.
Yes.
And then where will they sit during Bye Bye Birdie?
They'll just have to stand.
Yeah,
and
I guess
dance.
all
all dancing.
You know what? They shouldn't be sitting in that show. Now that I think about it,
Fucking lazy production of Bye Bye Birdie.
get up and do a little jazz box. Do a shuffle off to Buffalo. Interesting. So yeah, and I mean the walls are a little bit bare.
They are.
It seems like maybe you could get a little bit of art up in here.
Yes, my wife has talked to me about that.
Okay.
About getting some art up.
That would make it a little more homey.
Yeah.
But all in all, very tasteful, and you know what? I think you have something that is. You're walking a tightrope, and I think you're on the good side of it.
Okay,
that
good.
you have a DVD collection, but it's not intrusive.
Yes.
Like it's not an insane wall of DVDs.
Right, I'm not trying to prove something. It's not like a statement about the death of physical media
Right.
or anything
Yes.
like that.
Exactly. It's like you seem to have some a cool collection of things you care about, but it's not splayed around the room.
Yes.
Like a cat's urine. So yeah, all in all, very good home. But yeah, have a little fun and get some art that you like.
Yeah,
I think
thank you.
That's
I really
my
appreciate it.
advice to you.
This is my new podcast, the Reviewing My Home.
Yeah.
invite people
What
over
do you
and-
think of my house with Joseph Scrimshaw?
And how was the bathroom experience? Was it
Bathroom
okay?
experience was
Okay,
nice.
good.
Oh,
Thank
and I will say I really like these. You have little like woolen coasters.
Yes, my wife knit and felt those.
That is really crafty. That is
She's
that is
really
some
crafty.
Etsy level craftiness that's going on.
My wife is like human Etsy, but in a very good way.
Oh, good. Yes,
that could
Etsy
sound
kid.
nasty.
Yeah,
but,
you were.
yeah.
So you met your wife. You were just surfing on Etsy one day. Lightning hit the computer.
That's right.
And
she
then
came
out
to
she
life.
came.
Yeah, it's great.
Ukulele in hand.
Exactly. So your obsession
Yes.
is you are one of the few people that I always email people and say, hey, can you come on the show and what do you want to talk about?
Uh-huh.
And you were one of the few people who were like, I know exactly what I want to talk about.
Yeah. So my obsession, and it's one that I'm a little bit. I'm kind of fighting an embarrassment.
Okay. Nice.
But I'm learning that I need to own this. I think my probably favorite band in the world is NoFX.
Okay.
Who you might remember from the height of their prominence in the mid-90s.
I knew nothing of them.
I
had never heard of them myself.
Oh, really? You've
Yes.
never heard of them?
Yes, but I was a weirdo who kind of got bummed out by Kurt Cobain's death and annoyed with Pearl Jam, and then I was just like, screw it, and I kind of tuned out in the 90s.
You were done with guitar rock from there.
I was an ignoramus for many years, and then somebody's like, hey, you should listen to Cake.
Oh, yeah. You're like, all right, I'll give this
Okay.
rock and roll thing a shot again.
Yeah, it let me down. But, yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
But I did tune out, so every once in a while somebody's like, oh, the famous band.
Sure.
Like, no, I
I
don't.
have not
Like
heard of
an
this
idiot.
famous
So,
band.
How famous are they? Do other people know
So,
NoFX?
NoFX is they have been around a while. They got started in the early '80s.
Okay.
And we're kind of a part of the kind of California punk rock scene that your Bad Religions, your Black Flags is.
Okay.
We're a part of. Do these ring a bell?
Oh, yeah, these are like actual punk.
Yeah, and so they started out making a music that was really, really similar to what you think of when you think of like early hardcore music,
Right.
like really fast, really short songs, screaming vocals, and very little soloing.
Yeah.
Very little like musical showing off.
Yes,
no
there's
musical showing off.
nothing virtuosic.
No, yeah, a reaction to the, decadent prog rock of the late 70s, and the kind of coming wave of, glam and hair metal. These guys were just playing kind of short, fast, loud songs.
Yeah.
And kind of little by little, these bands, started to like, oh, what if we had some catchy hooks in here? And what if we had a guitar solo? And what if it lasted, past the 90-second mark? And, a lot of those bands went away, but, the ones that stayed got to be, really, really, musically interesting and cool. And I think in the case of NoFX, they became geniuses. I think they are, straight up musical geniuses. I think people who are maybe casual fans might laugh a little bit when I say that,
Okay.
but I think they are they're amazing songwriters, amazing musicians, but it is all kind of in the through the lens of punk rock you would have heard in a mall in 1996.
Okay, and you feel like they've perfected that, or that they've evolved from that?
Yeah, I mean, they are still, and I think they would still say that they're a hardcore band. I think they would still call it that, but kind of in that kind of loud, screaming music is, there's heavy metal parts, there's prog rock parts, there's jazz parts, there's there's country and reggae, right. and I know that's a kind of a corny thing to say about a band, is that they incorporate a lot of different styles. It's not just one thing, man. But they do it in a really, really cool way that I think would surprise people who have an opinion of the punk rock of the mid-90s. Okay. Yeah.
So when did you first get hooked? How old were you, or what was it that hooked you on NoFX?
So when I am 33.
Okay.
Are we about the same age? Can we?
I'm a little older than you.
Okay. So
I've been told not to say my actual age out loud in Hollywood, or I'll explode into flames.
That's true. Yes, there's a sniper positioned on the roof ready to take you out.
That's right. There'll be some color on my walls.
Right. Make a viner, get out. But I think when I was growing up, the guitar rock was Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, 9 Inch Nails. I remember my sophisticated friend Mike Nguyen. He was sophisticated because he had two sisters who were one was in high school and one was in college, and they were very cool and went to a lot of concerts and gave him a lot of CDs. He had a Nirvana CD when we were in 7th grade, and he put the headphones on me, and it was the song "Rape Me."
Wow.
And I was terrified. I'm like, I shouldn't be listening to this. This is not for me.
So you were like 13, 14 years old in 7th grade?
Yeah. And it was not scary in a fun way. It was scary in a I shouldn't be listening to this.
Okay.
And I don't know, the kind of that gloomy rock of the day.
Yeah.
The grunge in its and its adjacent musics. I kind of liked that they rocked, but I didn't like how bummed everyone was.
Okay, so you would have liked it if it was the nice hard chords and the fast drums, but it was a little bit more like, high five me instead of rape me.
Yeah, exactly. And then because I lived in Orange County and it was the mid-90s, I discovered ska music.
Right.
And I remember I always read the calendar page of the Orange County Register. My mom would always give me the calendar page on Sunday to read, and I would look at what movies were coming out.
Okay.
And read the comics. And I remember seeing an article they did about this new music the kids are listening to, the ska music. And it just looked really fun. Everyone was wearing suits and goofy outfits.
Okay.
And dancing around like boobs. And I'm like, okay, I'm a goofball. I think this is something that I could get behind.
Right. Okay.
I kind of started checking that out and finding magazines that wrote about it and stuff, and kind of going to the warehouse and getting used CDs and stuff.
Okay.
And then kind of adjacent to that music was I think what people would call skate punk. And I had a buddy in high school who enjoyed ska music but was more into punk music. His name was Travis Bridenstine, and his
Bridenstine.
Travis Bridenstine.
That's an awesome name.
Don't know where this guy is. Would love to catch up with him. Travis, if you're out there, you shaped me in ways you could never know. He was the half brother of the drummer of the Vandals, who are a seminal Orange County punk rock band.
Okay.
And we would drive around. He was a little bit older than me and had a driver's license, and he had a red Jeep. And we would drive around and listen to the Vandals and Lagwagon and Strung Out and NoFX. And it had the kind of, they come from they think that the government should fuck off and that authority is lame. But they are also very funny, and they made jokes, and they sounded like they enjoyed their lives, which is just it was so mind-blowing.
Okay, yeah, so it's
you could
exactly
still have
what
this hard, aggressive music, but from people who didn't seem miserable. And I was never a miserable teen. I never had a
Cool.
goth phase. I was never bummed. Yeah, I mean, I was bummed, but like I never descended into the depths of Cure-esque mopiness, you know?
Yeah.
I was always like pretty happy, and I was a goofball, and I liked to be silly and make jokes, and so this seemed to be the kind of like, oh, this is where those things meet. Like, this is where
Right.
aggressive angst and people who are, people who still like to laugh and have a good time
Yeah.
live.
That's
You know,
really
it
cool.
lives in this intersection.
Yeah, I hadn't ever really thought of any sort of punk existing like that it has a message of fuck the man. But you and I can have a beer. That'd be fun.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a really good way to put it. And I know that you and I are both, I think we share a love of the television program Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That's correct.
And, I think that has a similar value in that
Yeah.
kind of recognizing that the world is lame. The world in which we live in is it can
Right.
be frustrating and lame, but maybe the best thing to do is to laugh at it.
Right, yeah, and the best Mystery Science Theater, I think, goes after actors in movies that feel pompous and irresponsible and dumb.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of that attacking the sort of the structure, but never attacking the audience.
Yeah.
And that was just so much a part of like heavy metal. It was just sneering at everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's
yeah.
stupid. Everybody's a fucking idiot.
Right.
And then for me, all my experiences with punk were that sort of like, you're a poser if
Yeah.
you like punk, and you have to be born punk, like it's almost like a DNA thing.
Sure.
Like I would be interested in punk, but I would never feel like, well, I could own punk. So it's awesome to hear like a band who's like, sure, no, anybody likes our music, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, kind of it's something that I think when people look at punk rock, the kind of California punk of the 80s and 90s is a little bit, I think music snobs think it's a little bit of a joke because it was guys in Vans and shorts who like maybe had a mohawk, but also they were, probably wearing a Quicksilver tank top.
Right,
or
so the
something.
California version of everything, the stereotypical California version of everything of like, they're not doing punk all the way. They're kind of being lazy half-asses about it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think, NoFX and the Descendants are two good examples of like bands who, who weren't going on stage with leather and chains and mohawks. They were going on, in shorts and Converse and
Whatever's comfy.
Yeah, and joking around and
Awesome.
Still having that anti-authority stance, but also, but also, yeah, there was a sense of like, you don't have to, look like, you live in London in 1977.
We're not going to count
like,
your piercings at the door.
Yeah, like you can skateboard down here. You can come here after you've had a surf sesh, and we can all have a good time. And I think that it turned into something bad, which was Blink-182 and Sum 41, and that it had all the goofiness and the jokes, but none of the thoughtfulness,
Interesting.
and I don't want to slag off Blink-182 too much, but I mean, I think bands like that is when it started to kind of become a joke and not have any of the values.
So is that where the shame comes from? Where does the shame?
Yeah,
of like,
that's and that's the shame. It is very Blink-182 based. It is that I think if you are I think a lot of people, a lot of music people have a couple of punk CDs in their collection. They have some Clash.
Mm-hmm.
They have a couple of Ramoneses.
Yeah.
And like maybe they have a Black Flag, and maybe they have a Green Day or an Offspring from high school.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I think I think a lot of people think that after that it all was Blink-182.
Okay.
It was all, my girlfriend left me and I peed on her house and,
Yeah.
blah blah, kicking the nuts.
Yeah, and that did always kind of get on my nerves as a fan of rock and harder rock and comedy, that they didn't sit well together, that it felt almost cutesy.
Yeah, and I think that, that kind of, and they had those sneery vocals. And so I think when I tell people that I like NoFX, I worry that they think that, they are that sort of band.
Right. That you're basically saying I like Blink 181.
Yeah,
like
it's like
before
saying it's like saying your favorite food is candy. Like, oh, I love candy. What's your favorite food? Oh, I eat a handful of sweet tarts every day. And I think that what NoFX is I think they have the kind of, you know, the political outrage and the thoughtfulness that, you know, that 80s punk rock had, but they also have tunes and harmonies and guitar solos, and you know, and it can be more fun to listen to than a Black Flag song. You know?
Cool. Now, I was reading up on them on Wikipedia because that's the level of research I do for all the topics.
I think that's great. They've never steered me wrong.
So yeah, feel free to tell me if I
Please.
or Wikipedia are full of shit. So I was reading that they are truly punk in that when these other bands like Blink-182 were becoming popular, that they were approached by labels and they were like, no, man, fuck labels.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, right nowadays that seems like kind of a silly thing because, you know, the record label is not as influential as it used to be. But I do think at the time they probably, you know, did have the opportunity to do, you know, right, to go, you know, obviously because that Green Day album was such a huge hit.
Right.
Dookie, I mean, you know, that, and I'm sure that after that became a hit, you know, every band who kind of sounded like that got approached. But yeah, I do think that they, I think they wanted to do their own thing and keep it independent and play the shows they wanted to play. And
that's always seemed to me like the crisis of punk music.
Yeah.
Of we're yelling at the man, we want to be heard,
Sure.
but we don't want to be embraced by the man in order to be heard.
Right. Yes. Exactly. I don't want too many people to hear this message of revolution.
So when you're hearing that, when you're listening to NoFX, do you feel like there is something quintessentially about their music that makes it better because it has not been soured by the man?
Yeah, I mean, it's really like they are still pretty shocking and abrasive. I mean, I think they and you know, like the stuff they make songs about is really is pretty unusual and uniquely them. Like I think the lead singer, Fat Mike. Everybody has a ridiculous punk rock name, so it's hard to like. It's so funny to talk about them like a serious band. I'm like, well, Fat Mike and Smelly met when, you know, Smelly, their drummer. They're a funny band to talk about seriously. But yeah, I think you know, Fat Mike is he is very into extreme S&M. I think he's married to a dominatrix.
Okay.
So they have a lot of songs about dungeon sex. And
all right.
I think he's a super like hardcore drug user. I think he uses a lot of very intense drugs and writes a lot of songs about hardcore drug use. And I think that it's like that's maybe not stuff that you could make a song about, or that the record label would dissuade you from making a song
So
about.
the actual music that they're making, they would not be allowed to make either because of the content or like even the structure.
Yeah, you know, that I wonder. I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know if that is a thing that a record label would tell you not to do.
Yeah.
But I think that the people who, I don't know, I think they just know the audience, and they know this isn't like a, you know, they maybe know that this is not a product for everyone. And, you know, if this was just on the modern rock radio station, that it would not go over well.
It would probably be fine if it was about dungeon sex, but it would it would be unspeakable if it didn't have a guitar solo.
Right, yes, exactly. Yeah,
Go ahead and scream about chains, but for God's sakes,
but
get
I mean,
some licks in there.
I do think that you know, punk rock is a value that they have, and like doing it their way is important to them. So, and I think that's really cool. I think, you know, it is important to keep in mind that, like, you know, you can do things your own way and still be successful. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah, because they like function. The Wikipedia is great. It's almost like a little novel. Because
Sure,
as I was reading it, the question was, well, okay, that's great that they rejected this, but do they function or do they have day jobs? And it sounds like they tour. Yeah. And they have enough of a base that they're not rich, but they function.
Yeah, I think they have a record label, Fat Records, that puts out a lot of music that sounds like that.
That they started themselves, right?
Yeah, and and I think they play when they want to, and they don't, you know, I don't think they have to be on the road 50 weeks a year. I think they all have kids at this point. And,
of course they do.
Yeah, and I think that's they even have songs about that. There's a song on, my favorite album of theirs is called Wolves in Wolves Clothing. It starts out with a song called 60%, about how they only try 60%, which is weird because it is on their best album that they clearly put all of their heart and soul into.
Okay, so they had to qualify it a little bit by starting with a song that's like, we didn't try that hard. We're still punk.
I think what 60% is about, it's not about not doing a good job. I think that's the joke of the song, is that we're not even trying to do a good job.
Yeah.
I think it's about having a happy life. Like, it's about living your life the way you want to. It's like, if you don't want to be on the road 50 weeks a year, don't be on the road 50 weeks a year.
Right.
Like, find a way to make the life that you want for yourself.
Awesome.
And do it that way. Like, don't, the essential message is you do you. Live your truth.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So sort of spiraling off that idea of what punk is essentially.
Sure.
As a comedian and a comedy writer, do you think there is any kind of comedy that is truly punk, that there is some essential part of it that it loses itself if it is too successful?
That's a great question. It's like, the television program I work for at midnight. I mean, I think, in addition to just goofing on YouTube videos, we take shots at, politicians and presidential candidates and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that is automatically not important or, not effective because we are, paid by some sort of giant corporation that I'm sure goes back to Halliburton in some way.
Yeah.
That we can't see. But yeah, I don't know. And I think the idea of I mean, even if we are, even if I'm not living in a crash pad and I'm making a comfortable living and wear J. Crew to work, maybe that's not that important, but the idea is that, it's still good to point out when something sucks.
Yeah.
And to, take shots at the powerful and find a way to laugh at it. Find a way to kind of laugh at the ridiculous things that are happening in the world. So,
absolutely. Yeah, and then with podcasts, your podcast is super successful.
Sure.
But podcasts are still, to me, seem like the Wild West, where you can still do whatever you wanted.
Yeah,
too, right?
I mean, a podcast, that's definitely our version of a boutique record label.
Yeah.
Definitely our podcast, Jordan, Jessie Go, we are not a huge show, but we have a really intense, loyal little group of people. And I think, I'm making our show for them. Like,
right.
I don't think... my co-host or I have any illusions that, we will become the next Serial at any point. But
if you talked about murder, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Like, we got to do that.
Jordan, Jessie, murder, go.
Yeah. But I think that, I think like the boutique record label, like we know, like, okay, this will not make us bazillionaires, but we can make a little money off it, and there's a little group of people who passionately love it.
Right, and you can do whatever you want, because you can suddenly change up what the podcast is.
Totally,
and there's nobody who's going to say don't do that.
Yes, we would be spammed on Twitter until we put guns in our mouths. But in theory, you are right.
Yeah.
We could.
So your audience is the man for Jordan, Jessie Go.
Exactly.
They'll tell you what you
yes,
do.
they are right. They're the authoritarian lockstep Nazis. So yeah, I think there's definitely a parallel there of like. And I think it's super important for comics these days. I think there was one point where you're like, oh, I'll just become a famous stand-up and then I'll get my Seinfeld.
Yep.
But yeah, and I think that like you can do comedy, but you also have to do an internet thing and
right, and you can comfortably 60%.
Yeah, you get 60%. Exactly. Yeah.
So getting back to the guys,
sure.
Fat Mike and whoever else.
There's El Jefe.
Okay.
There's Melvin, and then there's Smelly.
Okay. If you could sit down and
I repeat,
drink,
these men are geniuses.
If you could sit down and like have a beer with any of these guys, which one would you want to hang out with?
Oh boy. If I could just pick one.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think El Jefe is a pleasant person. I think he's the nicest man.
And is he the guitarist?
He's the guitarist. Okay. Yes. Guitarist, occasionally trumpetist. But yes. he seems like the nicest man, is probably the most fun. But I mean, I think the Fat Mike is the brains of the operation, who writes all the or most of the songs, anyways. So yeah, I mean, I think he's the guy who would be the most fun to pick the brain of.
So what would you ask him if you sat him down with a beer? And he said, kind of open season, you can ask me about whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what would you want to dig out of Fat Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, okay, something that they do in their songs that I really like is they mention guys that they clearly know, but they don't explain who they are. Like, so there's a lot of, like, characters in their songs that, like, this is clearly a guy you know that you are singing. And there's I think that's part of what I love about their songs so much, and I think it's part of what I also love about good comedy is that it's specific. It's really specific.
Okay.
The devil's in the details.
Yeah.
And they, and they clearly are writing about something very particular, even if that can be baffling sometimes. Of like, I don't know who you're talking about. Like, I'm glad that they're doing it. So I'd be like, who is Jeff of Jeff Wears Birkenstocks? Like this guy, this guy you wrote about who doesn't, who wears sandals to work. Like who was he?
Yeah. Would that rob the mystery from you, or would you
I
find
think
like,
I would like to know. I think I
finally
would,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that experience. I liked Guns N' Roses a lot growing up.
Okay.
And they came along at the right time for me. So they were scary,
sure,
but in a good cathartic way.
Yeah.
And I sang along to their songs, not having any idea what Axl Rose was saying, like because I literally couldn't make the words out, not knowing. And then I don't know when it was, I finally like, hey, I have the internet. I could look up what he's saying. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, that's what I've been singing along to.
So, are you excited about the potential Guns N' Roses reunion?
Yeah.
Will you go to see them live?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're allegedly going to do a tour, and I'll go see them.
Okay.
I never saw them as a youth.
Interesting.
Because it was so scary to parents and a lot of friends. Like I kind of had to hide it.
Yeah, well,
I like them.
I mean, as soon as you get in there, you'll overdose on cocaine.
I went to
turn gay. I mean, there's so many things that could happen at a Guns N' Roses concert.
Yeah, the gay cocaine. I saw the current lineup, which is just Axl and a bunch of other ridiculous.
Buckethead is Buckethead in there?
Buckethead wasn't there. He was gone, but it's like DJ Ashba or something like that.
Sure.
Asba, I don't know what it is. And Tommy Stinson.
From the Replacements?
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. He's the one who really, added some credibility to modern day Guns N' Roses. But it was really weird because it'd always been this thing that I saw myself, and then I went to the concert and there's a collection of human stereotypes there.
Sure, yeah.
Urinating all over everything and getting high in the bathroom. So that was a lot of fun. So getting back to your love of NoFX, though, if you could ever jam with them, would you want to jam with them?
I mean, I'm not like musical, so but if this is my fantasy world where I am a music virtuoso, I think more than that, I would want to like talk to them and goof around with them because I like appreciate their musicianship, but it's also it's the kind of the wit in the storytelling of the songs that I like the most. So I think I would probably err on the side of having a beer rather than waste time with a jam session.
Okay, but if you were at a concert, in the front row, and they had a wood block, and they just wanted someone to go to town on a wood block as a joke.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, play the wood block. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. That's cool that you connect to them mostly as the comedy thing. Yeah. It makes me want. I listened to 3 or 4 of their songs, and it makes me want to listen to even more. I read a story on Wikipedia, and I want to see if this is true.
Sure.
At South by Southwest, that Fat Mike allegedly set up a concert with a video reveal to make it seem as though he had made people drink his urine.
Yeah, that's a fun one. So obviously when punk rock became so terribly unfashionable, you didn't hear about these bands anymore. They were still playing and still putting out albums, but they were not in the press. And then all of a sudden, there was a week or two where everyone, all the outrage blogs were talking about Fat Mike from NoFX because he. I'll tell the story of the whole thing. I think I have it right.
Oh, cool.
So they put out after they put out Wolves in Wolves Clothing, they put out an EP called Cokie the Clown, and the front of the album is it's this velvet painting of Fat Mike as a clown, and the title song of that is a really wonderful example of why they are better than every other band. In that, it's a song about a clown who brings you drugs.
Okay.
I think the the metaphor there, it's about enablers. Like, it's about all the enablers in our lives, and it does such a good job because it paints debauchery as both fun and sad, and they're always sure to do both. Like, when they're writing songs about drinking and drugs, they always make some nod to the fact that this is both fun, but it also can get sad real quick. And I think that and sometimes the song is more sad. There's a good song on Heavy Petting Zoo called Scavenger Type that is about a drunk who lives on the street, and it has funny, triumphant parts about it, but it's mostly sad. But then there's a good song on the album Coaster called First Call. It's just kind of a funny song about showing up to a bar when it opens. And that is mostly a fun song about how fun it is to drink at a bar when it opens, but it also has some nods to the fact that, but also if you're here, this is a problem. And this can turn bad real quick.
Right.
Anyways, I think Cokie the Clown is the best example of that, and I think it's about, it is about the tightrope that you walk when you're, abusing yourself somehow. It's like it can go from fun to sad really, really quick. And to promote this thing, they went to South by Southwest, and one of the, God, I don't know if this is still on YouTube. There's these videos of Fat Mike solo with an acoustic guitar, dressed as Cokie the Clown, He'll play an acoustic song. He will put the guitar down, attempt to do something like juggle and fail, and then tell one of the worst stories from his life he possibly can.
Like a true, heart-wrenging awful.
Yeah, like about his divorce. Okay. And it's a roller coaster. It's so weird. It's the coolest, most weird, artistic, ballsy move for, and I'm sure there are people there who just want to hear the songs from the 90s, and he's doing this strange performance.
Right, and I'm sure plenty of people tuning in to see, Cokie the Clown, that'll be funny. Like, my God.
Yeah, and then it really, it just ping-pongs between, hilarious and weird and upsetting, and it's a roller coaster.
Excellent.
Yes, if you're a fan of NoFX, you want to look up those Cokie the Clown performances. They're a trip. And yeah, and I think one of the things from, I don't know if it was that same show or the tour, was him passing out shots of tequila, and then the video played behind him of him pissing in all of the shot glasses.
Okay.
I don't think anyone actually drank piss, but it was a big thing. The audience went a little crazy, and then the TMZs of the world picked up on it. And all of a sudden, for a weird little week, the internet was talking about NoFX again.
Okay.
So, very strange.
Sounds like just the kind of thing that they would normally do, right? Just a very kind of punk thing that's just sort of having fun with people's expectations.
That's a little bit. That's a little bit more
a generous way to say it.
I think that is the odd piece of performance art that they do.
Okay,
that is not a normal thing, and I think after that they settled into regular touring of playing 45 minutes of the hits.
No more urinating cups. So
yeah.
If you had been there in the audience, would that have tested your love of NoFX or the punk aesthetic? If you had thought for even a second that you had actually, taken in some old Fat Mike urine?
You know what? I'm not a germaphobe. I don't. I've never been one to carry around a Purell.
Yeah.
I observe the 5-second rule. Sometimes I'll even let it go to the 10-second rule. I think that is so hilarious. I think I would not have minded to ingest a little bit of urine.
Here's the essential part of that story that Wikipedia left out.
Yes.
Is that it was in tequila.
Yeah.
And I feel like any tequila I would be expecting to drink at a punk rock show.
Yeah.
Probably improved by urine.
Right. Has some sort of matter in it that is not tequila.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not urine. Maybe it's, fecal flex.
As far as I'm concerned, the urine might help with the hangover.
Maybe it's barback semen. I know. I think that's an excellent point, is that if you are getting free tequila at a terrible South by Southwest music venue, and they are mostly terrible if you've ever been, I think you should expect there to be urine. That should not be a surprise.
Yeah. There's just got to be urine in the air at South by Southwest.
I would have loved that. I think I would have loved it.
Cool. Do you have an opinion on, this is a slightly racier question.
Sure, please.
I warn you.
Please.
We're going to get bawdy.
Yeah.
Do you think there is a good NoFX song to have sex to?
No. know. Let me think. That's an excellent question. I don't like in general. I don't like lovemaking with music with lyrics. It always seems corny.
Fair enough.
Like it always seems like you're doing a bit about sex when there's music with lyrics on. Something instrumental is nice.
Yeah, instrumental is nice, but yeah, I can see how you would be thinking that the lovemaking should reflect the narrative of the song, or should change then in the middle of songs.
And I have never dated anybody who's been into punk rock before. Like it's always been something that I do with like friends who I'm not dating.
Okay.
So I wonder if I was dating someone who is super like we just locked, we just were all about it. Yeah, maybe. You know what? Maybe the right gal. Maybe the right gal. We could put on maybe one of the classic albums.
Okay. Would that be the Wolves in Wolves Clothing?
I don't think that is considered a classic album. I think their classic album is Punk and Drublic.
Nice.
But maybe Ribbed or S&M Airlines.
Excellent. A similar question. Do you think they have a really good...
also, just side note, the songs last 90 seconds for the most part, so I guess you saying, is there a song you would do it to?
Right.
Maybe implies a little bit about... But I don't know, I could wrap it up in 90 seconds, I think.
I think so.
If the idea is to have sex over the course of a song, I think I could probably get her done in... 90 to 120.
You're committed. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You picked the right song.
That's the challenge.
Is there a good song for somebody to play a NoFX song at someone's funeral? Is there any song that would be appropriate?
Oh, yeah, let's think. I mean, I guess it depends on the tone of the funeral.
Yes.
I think mostly no, but I think if I don't know, I think if the person was like, if it was a fun funeral, if it was someone who was like, let's all party during my funeral, I think there's probably a good one. Yeah, I mean, maybe just something, maybe just one of their jokier ones. Like, I don't know, hot dog in a hallway. Maybe just...
I like it by, I don't know this song, but I like it by title because it sounds a little bit like the small going into the infinite.
Yeah, maybe there is something there. Maybe there is a metaphor about becoming part of the greater.
We are all just
kind
hot
of
dogs in the
mess.
hallway.
Aren't we all just hot dogs down a hallway?
Just sliding.
The hallway
down.
is the universe. We are the hot dog.
If NoFX had a movie, like the Beatles had like Hard Day's Night.
Yes.
And you were able to write it, pitch it to them.
Oh yeah, sure.
What would their Hard Day's Night be? Written by Jordan Morris.
They have there's a couple very cool DVD sets if you're a fan of them, called Backstage Passport, and it is, I think there's 2 volumes of it. I think it was a show on Fuse for a season. One of those cable networks no one's ever heard of. It's them playing in places they've never played before. So it's usually like second and third world countries.
Okay.
So it's them just playing in all these hostile places. But there's always, a crazy group of kids there who have never gotten to see them before. So it's really cool. And yeah, I think you could dramatize that in a fun way.
Interesting.
Like it could be a road trip movie of them, like having to deal with kind of shady Slovakian club owners and stuff like that.
So it'd be sort of NoFX meets Taken.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. And then someone's daughter gets snatched, and then the throat punching can begin. I do like that. I do like that angle of it. Yeah, because it would have to have a little bit of action, and I think you do want it to pep up a little bit.
Yeah, and it seems like they'd have a sense of humor.
I think so.
And want to cast themselves in ridiculous roles.
Yeah. I like that.
A special set of skills.
I love this. So yeah, so a dramatization of the Backstage Passport DVDs with a little element of Give Me Back My Daughter.
Nice. If NoFX is a gateway drug, where does it lead you to next if you get super into NoFX?
Geez, you know what? I think they are really interesting in that they will still talk about those 80s punk rock bands like they're the Beatles. Like there are so many like cool references to like the less than famous bands that they came up with in their songs. There's a great 2 songs that occur on 2 albums. The first song is called I've Got 2 Jealous Agains, and that is the title of a famous punk rock record. And it's about Fat Mike meeting his wife and them merging their record collections.
Oh, wow.
It's really like cool song, and it's a cool like song about like to get you to think about like how you bond with someone. Like, is it just stuff, or is it more than stuff? Like, is liking the same stuff enough?
Right.
You know? And then a couple albums later, there's the song "I've Got One Jealous Again," which is about them getting divorced and having to separate the record collections.
That's amazing. How far apart are they?
So I think they are 3 albums apart.
Oh, wow.
Maybe there's 2. No, okay. So yeah. So I guess there's 2 proper albums between. I've got 2 Jealous Agains, and I've got 1 Jealous Again.
Okay.
Anyway, but these songs, in addition to being kind of a cool slash sad slash weird, story of a marriage, they are huge lists of obscure punk rock records.
Okay.
So I think that if you like NoFX, I think you want to go back and listen to, the Cro-Mags and the Descendants and other bands that were kind of around that scene. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think they are a good band that makes you curious about, what led up to the punk rock explosion of the 90s that, we're all familiar with, and some of us consider a joke. So
that's really cool that they basically have a song that's basically like if you like this on Netflix, you'll also like.
Yeah, it is a recommend if you like. Yeah.
That's awesome. If someone listened to nothing but NoFX for a full week,
sure,
how would that affect your week?
I think you would want to drink. I think you would want to do drugs. I think it would like lead you into wanting to like party. I think it would, if you were working, I think you would probably want to go to a bar immediately after work. That's always my feeling. I feel like if I listen to NoFX on the way to work, I am just always thinking about like, do I have time to stop at a happy hour before I have something else to do? And which is good and bad. I think there would probably just be a lot of drinking. But I think you would also feel amped up in a good way.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it would be ultimately a positive effect with the clause that maybe you would be too drunk to function.
And it seems like they ultimately commiserate with the general human condition of like pumped up, want to party, want to drink, but also have a little bit of that. We get divorced and everything's fucked up too.
I guess I don't want to make it seem like they just have kind of goofy drinking songs. They have all kinds of songs. There's breakup songs. There's songs about how how terrible politicians are. There's songs about there's just kind of goofy songs about experiences. So they do they record a lot of music, and it covers like a lot of territory.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Have you heard of the band NoFX?
No.
Have you ever heard of a band called NoFX?
No.
Do you like any bands from the 90s?
Of course I like 90s bands. You know what? Seether, Fuel, Nirvana, yeah, man.
Nirvana?
Yeah, that was before the 90s, though.
That's during.
Yeah, he killed himself.
Think Nirvana's a little scary?
No, absolutely not.
Do you like Blink-182?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Have you ever heard of a band called NoFX?
Maybe.
Do you like any bands from the 90s?
Listen.
No. Blink-182?
Yeah, they're cool.
What about Nirvana?
Yeah, I'm a fan of them.
Do you think Nirvana's kind of scary?
Not really. The guys were just going through some shit, so they just want to express themselves.
Have you ever heard of a band called NoFX?
Yeah, I have. Punk band, old school, good guys.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah.
What do you think about NoFX Obsessions?
If you're going to have Obsession, that's not a bad band to pick.
Do you like Blink-182?
Yeah. The original old school.
How about Nirvana?
Pop, punk. Yeah, Nirvana. I mean,
how about you? NoFX?
Never heard of them.
Have you ever heard of a band called NoFX?
Dear, I don't speak English. I'm so sorry.
Welcome back to Obsessed. We're now going to do our How Obsessed Are You questions. So I asked people these on all the podcasts. No right or wrong answers. Just kind of get a gauge over all of the different interviews. Do you think about NoFX every day?
Do you just want a yes or no?
No, you can go into detail.
I would say I probably listen to one of their songs every other day. So let's say every other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you make a point if you know you haven't listened to NoFX for a day, that you're like, I need to get it back in my system?
Not really. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of like instinctual when I'm like in a situation where I'm listening to music for like a period of time, whether it's a commute or, you know, cooking at home or something. Usually one of their songs will make its way into the playlist. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Would you start a conversation with a random stranger about NoFX?
No. Again, I mean, there's a little bit of embarrassment around this
Okay.
of them. Maybe if they're not fans, this is just like someone saying their favorite band is Smash Mouth or something. So yeah, I think I would to talk about it. I would have to make sure that the person was like down, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so if they're already wearing like a Blink 182 t-shirt, so you felt like that shame barrier had already been broken.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this guy likes a labor punk rock band that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, then you'd be okay with it. Awesome. Do you generally interact? I know you're a very social person every time I've interacted with you, but do you interact with people in public? Like that came out weird. Do you like interacting with people in public?
I do, yes, yeah.
Okay, so it's easy and flowing for you, and it's not like when somebody talks to you at the grocery store, it's not like, "Where's my jetpack? I want to get out of here."
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think the conversations that make me uncomfortable are like I don't love talking to like Uber drivers, and I don't love like long conversations with like baristas.
So when there's another function that's happening,
I'm like, I just kind of want our transactional thing to be transactional. I mean, we can be pleasant to each other, but I mean, I don't have to tell you what I'm up to, you know. So yeah, and you know, like I think I have some, you know, this common party anxiety, but in general, I like them and like socializing. So
cool. So if you got into an Uber and somebody was blasting NoFX, that would be
neat. That would be really neat. Yeah,
awesome.
So,
would you get a NoFX tattoo?
Ooh, boy. I don't. You know, I've thought about tattoos a lot. I mean, everyone from our generation has a tattoo these days.
Yeah.
Definitely people in our like field. I feel like I'm the only non-tattoo person.
Yeah, I don't have a tattoo, and I think I'm going to get one pretty soon. Not out of peer pressure, but just out of desire.
What do you know what it's going to be?
I think so. I think it's going to be Star Wars related.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I've been thinking. RE tattoo in my life. I am not a married man, but I think it would be kind of fun to get a like matching or complementary tattoo to whoever I marry, or if it was a family thing where like if we had, you know, a kid, you tattoo the baby, you know, like maybe when the kid is old enough, there's a family tattoo that we get.
Oh, awesome!
So I think
such a wholesome tattoo.
Yeah. So I think I would. I mean, if that lucky lady is a huge NoFX fan, I guess we could get, you know, the album cover from my stepdad's a cop and my stepmom's a dom. But
is that what you would want?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a dominatrix. Oh, you know what? My favorite NoFX album cover is Heavy Petting Zoo, and it's a man finger banging a sheep. So maybe if my lucky lady. But you know, I guess I always think that like if you get a pop culture tattoo, you just run the risk of, you know, what if the horrible thing comes out, you know?
Right.
I don't suspect anything horrible will happen around NoFX, but
they've been super honest
already
about their lives.
So I don't think they will be like shamed, but you know, you never know. Like what if you were the guy with the Gary Glitter tattoo?
Yeah, right.
I'm not saying any of them will be child molesters, but I'm just saying that sometimes it becomes hard to separate the art from the artist, and it would be a tough thing to like have to have that, you know. That's maybe why I don't get any kind of pop culture thing of like, what if it gets ruined somehow, you know?
Yeah, I have a friend who has on like my walls, a meticulously decorated home of things that are vitally important to him.
Sure.
And one of the things was a Cosby record, and it was a real like...
totally,
I made the choice, and now I have to take that down.
Yeah, totally. So
it would suck to have something like that on your body.
Yeah, so I would want whatever tattoo I get to be a little more meaningful than a pop culture thing, or you know, a pop culture thing that I, you know, I mean, I think Star Wars is so safe. I mean, especially now that it's good again, you just go ahead and get a Star Wars tattoo.
I just kind of feel like it's gonna last my lifetime now.
Sure, yeah. And I think I will probably avoid pop culture tattoos unless it's, you know, something that the non-existent wife wants to do.
Okay, so that's a great answer. So
Yeah.
probably nothing, but maybe finger banging a sheep.
Maybe, gun to my head, the cover of Heavy Petting Zoo where a man finger bangs a sheep. Yes.
Okay, excellent segue to my next question. Would you read or write /fiction about NoFX?
Ooh, boy. I've never been a writer. I've never been a reader or writer of / or fanfic. But, I mean, you know what? There's a really fun show, and podcast that you can listen to if you're not in LA. Competitive erotic fan
Right.
fiction. The great Brian Cook heads that up. That's a fun one. You know what? Maybe if they had a music themed show and they asked me to perform, maybe I would do NoFX. I don't know that anyone would get it, but
Right.
Maybe it'll be the right crowd.
Yeah, it's a
So-
great show, but that is the weird thing about that show of like,
Yeah.
do you guys know about the weird people I'm having masturbate on each other? Do you guys know about these
Right,
guys?
yeah, it's like, do you know the names of the specific guys from Gears of War? You should, because a lot of these jokes hinge on that. I think that would be fun, and so much of their, not so much, but I mean a big part of their like music these days is like talking about bondage. So there's kind of a natural segue into it, I guess. So, or just maybe the funny part would be them having really like lame vanilla sex.
Oh,
because
yeah.
so much of the songs are about dominatrixes and whips and chains and what have you. It could just be them like having missionary sex like after they finish an episode of their Netflix show and then going to bed a little bit early so they can like get up and go to yoga in the morning.
Realizing it's been 2 weeks, so we probably should
Yeah,
just to keep it
yeah,
alive.
sure.
Maybe
That's the fun angle.
the probably should angle. Yeah, that's awesome. Would you watch a movie about NoFX made by Chris Columbus?
By Chris Columbus, yes. Oh God, that'd be great. How incongruous! What a fun disaster. Yes, absolutely. I think it's probably the wrong man to make the movie, but I think that's part of what would make it fun.
I often have Adam Sandler or Michael Bay for that question because I'm trying to match up, somebody that people often don't have respect for.
Right.
For NoFX, Chris Columbus just seemed like the most vanilla director.
Yeah.
To handle
I think
the
so.
most
that
punk
sounds
thing.
Good. Yeah.
So you would just love the absurdity of it.
I think so, yes. I mean, obviously, it would be fun if they would make a good movie about them, but if it's going to be a train wreck, it should be a spectacular one, I guess. So, yeah.
Awesome. Would you break up with someone who didn't like NoFX, who just hated them?
I have stayed in relationships with people who have hated NoFX, so that your theory has been tested. I guess we're not together now, so maybe it would have stayed together if we would have shared
if you had been able to bond over
No,
it.
I mean, I think like I said, I've never really dated anybody who's been into punk rock in the same way that I am, and I think it's never been something I'm like, oh, I wish we could. I don't know. It's kind of fun to have separate interests. I think. As long as you share a couple of things, it's nice to have like little like satellite activities you can go to with friends.
So being in those relationships, there's never a time where you're like, I'm making dinner and I had a stressful day and I really want to blast NoFX, but I can't because my partner hates it. Were you ever in those kind of?
I don't like it when. I mean, I think one of my qualities is I'm a little bit of like a doormat, a little bit of like a people pleaser. So I don't want people to be uncomfortable.
Okay.
I think that if I turn on music anywhere, I want it to be something that everybody can like.
Yeah.
So I think the like, I want to listen to this would be squashed by, I'm so worried this person is not having a good time. So I think that I probably couldn't enjoy it if I knew that they hated it.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
My wife and I made a mixed CD for our wedding that we gave to everybody who came.
Oh, yeah.
And we put on all these songs that meant to us and a lot to us individually and in our relationship.
Was there any Guns N' Roses on it?
That's what happened is I wanted a Guns N' Roses song, and my wife is great and understanding. She's like, absolutely.
This
of
is
course.
where I'm drawing the line.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
funny.
she was totally fine with it. It's
Oh,
like,
she was.
it's
Oh,
not
that's great.
Cheese, and I'm really stupid lucky.
Nice. Awesome.
And she's like, you can put it on. I did a mix where I put Appetite for Destruction as the last song, and I was like, I can't do it because all the other songs are like pretty flowing and beautiful, and like I can't do it. And then I found the Richard Cheese version of Appetite.
Oh yeah,
Welcome to the Jungle.
Lounge Against the Machine.
Yeah. It was Welcome to the Jungle was the song I was going to put, not all of Appetite for. I said Appetite for Destruction, the whole album.
Sure, yeah.
No, it was Welcome to the Jungle, and I found the Richard Cheese version.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a nice compromise, I think.
Converted some fans to Richard Cheese.
Sure.
Yeah. Would you swear at a nun if she insulted NoFX to your face?
Oh, I mean, boy, what an amazing experience that would be if a nun knew about it and had an opinion about it,
Yeah.
no, I think I would kiss her on the mouth for having that weird little pocket of knowledge. No, I don't think so. I think that would be just so amazing. Yeah.
So she got in your face and was like, how dare you
How
like
this
that
is-
urine
Sure,
picture of the...
urine drinking, urine drinking drug clown. I think that would be cool that she would know about it. I would be
Yeah.
like, that's nice. That's neat.
Yeah, but I'd like that your reaction would be to kiss her. That's good, too. 'Cause
Sure.
that's still a little
I'm sure
profane.
she would enjoy that. Yeah, exactly. Just still do something that would upset her.
Would you cosplay as a member of NoFX at San Diego Comic-Con?
I think, well, that's interesting. I think if you dress like someone from NoFX at San Diego Comic-Con, you just look like someone who lives in San Diego and is not going to Comic-Con. You just look like a 40-year-old man who still wears shorts.
It just wandered in?
So I think you probably would just look like a San Diego townie. I think that would be funny. I mean, I think that would be a cool little... I mean, God, I feel like when you go to Comic-Con now, like, it's not just Spider-Man and Batman. Like,
No.
people are cosplaying as... obscure deep cut things.
The game is to be obscure and deep cut at this point.
Yeah. Like, right, exactly. Steampunk Deadpool,
Yes.
I think it would be funny to try and replicate a NoFX outfit and then see if anybody got it. If someone got it, it'd be like, hey, we're cool forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw an actual steampunk Aquaman
Oh, yeah?
at Dragon Con.
Okay.
And it actually made me angry.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
How dare you?
It made me violently angry.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's wrong. Okay. This is the final question. If you couldn't listen to NoFX without you or someone you love first being punched in the crotch, would you still listen to NoFX?
I think it would be like boy, I sure like seeing them live. I just love seeing them live. So I think my compromise would be maybe not listening during the year, but going to like one show a year and taking that nut punch and just like going in there and just having the time of my life. And then maybe like one nut punch when they had a new album come out, so I could just like listen to it all the way through.
Nice.
So yeah, I think I would just cut back, bare minimum listening, and then and then just take the nut punch when it was important.
Yeah. You are the least phased by this question
Uh-huh.
that anyone's ever been, which
Yeah.
is awesome, and it's also the most appropriate for. Would you
Yeah,
be punched in
I
the crotch
know.
to listen to punk? Like,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, that'd be part of it.
I'm not
sure.
a wuss.
Yeah, exactly.
I might start doing it myself.
Yeah, I know. I just might start punching myself in the crotch and seeing if that affects the listening experience.
Awesome. I ask everyone to make a noise to sum up their obsession. Is there a noise that you can make to sum up your obsession?
Oh boy, I was thinking about that. I was just to prepare for this. I was like going back and listening to some albums that I hadn't like had on heavy rotation for a while, and like, and I think it's something that they do. Like they almost like intentionally put abrasive things in songs lest it get too catchy.
Okay.
Like it seems like sometimes when a song looks like it's gonna be, poppy or something that you would, whatever, hear on a Cartoon Network show or something like that, they will do something abrasive, whether it's swear or just go, "Bleh!" Like that noise. That noise recurs in some weird way throughout most of their career. Bleh! And so, yeah, that's probably it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm working on rating people's obsessions.
Sure.
This is a new thing I've been doing.
Yeah.
I've been trying to pick out something in the interview that's a good thing that I can use to quantify it. So I'm going to give you 4 out of 7 urine tequilas.
Okay. I'll take them. I will take all those shots.
Because it seems like you know them well. You
Yeah.
can rattle off their songs. It
Sure.
seems like it has been a soundtrack to your life up
Yeah.
to a point.
Mhm.
But you have a really good sense of where, of what they're saying.
Sure.
What is good about them, what is bad about them.
Yeah.
And a healthy amount of shame.
Yeah. I think I'm in a good place about it.
Awesome. Before we go to the final questions, do you want to plug yourself, where people can find you on the internet?
Oh, sure. Let's see. I co-host a podcast called Jordan Jessie Go. You can get that in iTunes or at MaximumFun.org. And if you're enjoying some late night television, why not try At Midnight on Comedy Central, for which I am a writer.
It is a fine program, and sometimes a performer.
Yeah, I've been on it a couple times too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I don't know when Hulu starts taking those things down, but if this I was on it recently. Maybe you can find it. I don't know.
Yeah. As we record this, you are the
Sure.
funniest man on the internet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I am recording this coming off of my At Midnight Win. So yes, you are technically having an interview with the funniest person on the internet.
That's great.
So
I'm
you're
thrilled
welcome.
by that.
You're welcome.
And listeners, if they don't already follow me on Twitter, you can find me at Joseph Scrimshaw, and you can follow the podcast as at Obsessed Podcast on the Twitter machines. And of course, you can find this on Feral or iTunes. I don't know how you found it otherwise. If there's a third way, let me know. These are the final questions. They
Yes.
don't have anything to do with your obsession, but they can if you want.
Great.
If you could assign yourself a nickname and people would willingly call you that, what nickname would you want?
Oh boy, let's see. Some people call me Joe Mo.
Really?
Jordan Morris, yeah.
Okay.
Joe Mo, which I did not like at first, but I have come to an understanding with.
Was it offered in a loving way, or was it offered?
It is, yeah, very
Okay.
very much in a loving way. But I don't know. Maybe I would just prefer Cooter. Maybe Cooter.
Why?
I don't know. It seems like a fun guy.
Okay.
Hey, Cooter's coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
we're all
party's gonna
excited.
liven up,
We're all
right?
excited. Cooter's here.
It almost sounds like Omar's coming from The Wire, but a lot more fun.
Yeah, no, yeah, super fun.
Cooter's coming.
Cooter's
Awesome.
Cooter's bringing the beer.
If there were a video game based on your life, what would the main challenge of the video game be?
Oh boy. Yeah, I think it would be more along the lines of an Assassin's Creed or a Metal Gear, where the goal is to avoid conflict. So it'd be an action game, but ideally you wouldn't make anybody mad.
Okay.
So I think that goes to my obsession with always sitting on the fence and never having anyone never rattling anyone's cage too hard. So I think it would be making it to the goal where no one is mad at you.
Okay, so it'd be sort of like this mashup of like the Pixar movie Inside Out and Assassin's Creed, where you're like
Yeah.
jumping around in the shadows, making sure you don't step on anyone's
Sure,
feelings.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, exactly. We would be in someone's head and making sure you don't accidentally set off the alarm bell that gets their
Yes.
anger guards on you or something.
I can't touch that.
I like that.
Memory
I
of
like that a
junior
lot.
prom.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And the final question for everyone on the podcast
Sure.
is, what is happiness?
Oh, what is happiness? Oh, that's a good one. Huh, interesting. I'd like to give a semi-sincere answer to that. I could just say eating ain't cheating or something like that, and everyone would probably laugh, and that would be fine. I think happiness is realizing that even if things aren't going exactly like you want them, because they so rarely are.
Yeah.
It's so rarely are things going exactly like we want them to. Like, just realizing that there's so much cool shit you can do for yourself. There are so many simple pleasures out there. So much delicious food. So many nice people. So many great jokes. So many cool things to put in your mouth and other parts of your body. It's a sometimes shit sucks, but whatever gave us so many little pleasure sensors that we can tick off at any moment.
Yeah.
So just grab one of those and start ticking.
That's great. Thank you very much, Jordan.
Nate.
That is our podcast.
You've been listening to Obsessed. Joseph Scrimshaw and his guest shared some stories with the rest. Rate 5 stars if you're impressed.
All my neighbors are fast asleep, and I can't find anything to drink. The loved ones drank all of my alcohol, so I'm going to be the first one at first call.